Welcome to my channel! These are all my June reads. What do we think?
Gay!
I started off with the picture of Dorian Gray, and I heard it was a little gay, but people were debating it, so I needed to find out for myself if it was actually queer-coded or not. And my answer is yes. If you read this and you don't think it's queer-coded, I think you're homophobic and you need to read it again. I'm just being honest. I really want the uncensored version because I think it's gonna... I had to save some stars, okay? I gave it... What did I do? 4.5 or something? I gave it 4.5 on Storygraph and 5 on Goodreads. So far it's my favorite classic, but I don't know if I can say that because I haven't read very many of them. But I'm going to. This is the beginning. I don't want to say too much about it because it really shocked me, and I think that you should go in blind. If you don't know anything about it, if you think the summary is way too small and way too short, or it doesn't tell you enough, that's fine. Don't look up the spoilers. For my nonfiction of the month, I decided to read about a YouTuber. In the spirit of June, I read about Joey Graceffa.
Good day, everyone!
If you don't know anything about Joey Graceffa, probably don't read it because I don't think you're gonna be interested in it. But personally, I enjoyed it. I found out a lot about him that I didn't know. My one critique though is he was talking about something really emotional about his mom. And then, let me see if I can find it. Like it's literally about her starting to drink again. And it cuts off in the middle of the sentence and starts showing pictures. Which I love the pictures, I wanted to see the pictures. But I think that it could have been timed differently. I'm sorry, Joey, but I gave it 4 stars. I think it's a good write overall, and I can tell. I think that Joey actually wrote it. I know a lot of people get ghostwriters, but I think Joey actually wrote it. I could hear his voice, and I like that. I like the voice of this writing. I would recommend it if you used to watch Joey Graceffa, or you still do. Next, we have Conversations with Friends. This was the only Sally Rooney book that I hadn't read, and I'll give a little short summary. Frances is 21 years old, cool-headed and observant, a student in Dublin and an aspiring writer. At night, she performs spoken word with her best friend Bobby, who used to be her girlfriend. When they're interviewed and then befriended by Melissa, a well-known journalist who is married to Nick, an actor, they enter into a world of beautiful houses, raucous dinner parties, and holidays in Brittany. But when Frances and Nick get unexpectedly closer, the sharply witty and emotion-averse Frances is forced to honestly confront her own vulnerabilities for the first time. The thing with Sally Rooney is you're supposed to, dislike all of her characters. They're not supposed to be likable. I understand this, but I still always find characters to like in her writing, even though they're really controversial and very complex. I love complex characters. There's so much nuance to this book. If you read this, please let me know what your opinions of the characters were, because I did not like Bobby, and I really wanted to like Bobby. I wanted to like Bobby so bad, but I think she's so annoying and so obnoxious, and I could not like her. I was watching people talk about this book, and some people really like Bobby, but I don't. I like Frances, though. I feel bad for her. I'm not a Bobby fan. Am I the only one? I can't be. I don't like Bobby. My favorite Sally Rooney book is Beautiful World, Where Are You? And I read that in May. So not that long ago. And now I've officially read all of the Sally Rooney works. Even Mr. Salary, which I did like. I wish it was longer though. That's my one critique. It needs to be longer. I give this a 4 on Goodreads and a 4.5 on Storygraph. My Storygraph ratings are probably more accurate, but I still say both because you can't give points on Goodreads. And if it's a 4.5 or something 0.5, it's important to know if I round up or round down. For this one, I rounded down, but it's just because I gave Beautiful World, Where Are You 5 stars. This might be my second favorite though. That is controversial. I think people love Normal People. which I'm going to reread because I haven't read it in like a year and a half maybe. So I can get a refresher and then I can officially rank all of these. Okay, next we have Call Me By Your Name, which I think I could get controversial about. Okay, here's the problem. I really like the writing. I think there's some really good writing to it. It has some merit to it. And I love the portrayal of obsession because I haven't really read anything about someone being obsessed with somebody and in such an accurate way because it consumes you. When you really like somebody, it consumes you, and we can clearly see that in this book. But I think it goes a little too far because Alia was like, oh, I wish that Oliver was dead because it just hurts too bad. Like, okay, I can get that. I understand that it hurts so bad. Maybe it'd be better if Oliver didn't exist. I can wrap my head around that one. But when we get to... I need to find this. I just came across a feet quote. Oh, I didn't want to reread that. I can't find it, but there's a quote in here that literally says he wished that Oliver was in a wheelchair. That part I didn't understand. I think that was a little too far. Okay. Let me read a little excerpt. I wanted him gone. I wanted him gone from our home so as to be done with him. I wanted him dead too, so that if I couldn't stop thinking about him and worrying about when would be the next time I'd see him, at least his death would put an end to it. I wanted to kill him myself, even, so as to let him know how much his mere existence had come to bother me, how unbearable his ease with everything and everyone, taking all things in stride, his tireless, I'm okay with this and that, his springing across the gate to the beach where everyone else opened the latch first, to say nothing of his bathing suits, his spot in paradise, his cheeky later, and his lip smacking love for apricot juice. If I didn't kill him, then I think this is a slur, so I'm not gonna say it. Then I'd beep him for life, so that he'd be with us in a wheelchair and never go back to the States. If he were in a wheelchair, I would always know where he was, and he'd be easy to find. I would feel superior to him and become his master, now that he was beep. Can I show it so you know the beep word? Let's see. This is the beep word. I am not saying it because I think it's a slur. But I haven't done my research, but I think it's a slur. If it's not, you can let me know, but I don't want to say something bad. But I will say something bad about the book. I just think that was too far. Why does Oliver need to be in a wheelchair because you're so infatuated by him, you want him in a wheelchair? I just think that was a little too far. You want to injure him so he's like hurt for life? That's so bad. And also, I think this is the one book that I like the movie portrayal better. I like the movie adaptation 10 times better than the book. There's some fetishes in this that I did not want to read about. If it's your thing, then that's good. It's all for you. But I didn't want to read about feet or some weird bathroom things. It just wasn't for me. But if it's for you, then you should read this book. And I also think okay, the author allegedly has said, I need to look this up. About the author, I don't know how accurate this is, and it's none of my business, but I believe the author says that he had his own Oliver at some point. I think he said that, I think that was in some interview. Correct me if I'm wrong, please. I can be wrong. But I believe he said he had his own Oliver. And I think that shows. I think he's kind of projecting, especially at the end. The ending is different than the movie. I actually like the movie ending better. I just didn't like it. I think that the author was portraying what he would want to happen if he were to see his Oliver again. That's just what I was thinking. I didn't think it made sense. It seemed like a little fantasy. So, overall, I think some therapy might be needed. I'm sorry. This is not a 5-star read for me. I'm speaking bad about it, but I thought it was interesting, and some of the writing is really good. So I gave it 4 stars on Goodreads, and I gave it 3.75 on Storygraph. So I didn't think it was awful. It was just not what I anticipated, and not what I hoped it was gonna be. But that's okay. It might be for somebody else, but it was not, it's not one of my favorite books I've ever read, that's for sure. I honestly struggled with the rating. I thought about giving it a 3, but I didn't. I don't know. So don't take my rating to heart a lot, because it's somewhere in the 3 or 4 range. Not above 4 though. And finally, for my grand finale, I have The Song of Achilles, which I've been dying to read. I've been dying to read this. I used to read Percy Jackson in middle school. That's the only interaction I've had with Greek mythology. So it's kind of like a throwback, but mixed with like something in current times I would read, and I like that. I did cry. I cried at least once, maybe 2 times. Yeah, this is my warning. I like the beginning a lot better than the ending. Like the last half, maybe like last 60% compared to the first 40%. The first 40% I loved. Those are where my favorite scenes are. I could give this a 5 on Goodreads and a 4.5 on Storygraph. Just because I think the war part wasn't my favorite. I didn't really enjoy reading about wars. I know this is a Greek mythology war. So it's like not, it's not all like guns, bang bang. It's a different kind of bang bang. But I'm gonna try and say this without giving any spoilers. But one of the characters becomes very vain and very full of himself. And we don't really see a lot of personal moments between the 2 main characters once they go to war. But the one vain character isn't very vain at the beginning, but they still cut off the personal ties. They might throw hints like, ooh, we're in the tent. But there's nothing, I wanted some more. I wanted some more moments. I wanted more moments together, and that made me sad. That's pretty much it. But I think it's a really good read. I did cry, and I loved the relationship. Anyways, I love reading about it. I mean, 4.5 and a 4. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. So I recommend it for sure. For sure. Read this. Read this. I think that's it. Now what I'm gonna read for next month beats me. I've only read 1 book and we're like 2 weeks in. Was that mean? I really hope it wasn't mean. Joey Graceffa, I love you.